What's going on, guys? Squibbly here, back again. Hopefully, we're gonna get through these dang mines today. Oh, they were so rough yesterday. It was not a good time. I'll be honest. Let's see. Let me get rid of my inventory.
Okay, maybe I should attack with hidden power electric. It doesn't do enough to one shot. I take damage from double edge for and thin walls uses a full restore, so I knock out.
I got to like,
I'm getting back a small amount of
I don't even know, like 90 or 67 or something like that yesterday. It was just rough, man. I got bodied left, right, and center. So, everything must go. Do I have any more food? I thought I actually food somewhere. Oh, the slob.
I make it to it with full health. Then I set up substitute, hoping that it was going to go for double team, but it doesn't. It just spams Giga Drain breaking my
I think I'm just gonna load up my inventory full of stuff.
And then from there, all uses a full restore. I knocked out with a critical hit.
That crap was rough yesterday.
But I am not in a good position. I'm going to have to slowly gain back health using the shell. It would be nice if it could delete Surf here and teach Earthquake, so I had super effective damage against this poison type, but I can't do that. I try substitute, hoping for it.
It was basically just the
as a result,
ghosts. Like between the ghosts and the spiders, man. It was just.
I think I should have
It was
deleted it
annoying.
before I
It was
tried
real
it
annoying.
before. It might have made Sydney a little bit more difficult.
I know I kind of rage quit last night.
Crunch was
Oh, I got like 67 last night too. I basically hit the goal. That's rough. That's rough. I didn't even realize.
It's great throughout the mid game from after Norman until just before the league, but then it should be deleted if your Pokemon has better options available. This time Ludicolo tries to set up double team.
I just like straight charged it.
Perfect. I use return right away against the Tentacruel. It hits with Sludge Bomb, not doing very much, and Wallace spends a full restore trying to save it. Okay, time for my Lord. Now, it uses Toxic, wasting its time to do damage, but even if it did, it only has Surf and Ice Beam, so it wouldn't do much. I finish it, move on to the Whisk Cache, which he chooses next, and that's perfect. No Intimidate before it comes in. I now have the choice between Surf or Return. I go for Surf on turn 1, thinking that it's going to set up amnesia and that I'm going to have to use Return after that. But instead, I just get a critical hit. Moving on to Wallace's
Oh, it's doing the thing
which
again,
is
isn't it?
Gyarados, and of course, hidden
I
power.
might have to restart my PS5.
Torpedo finishes the league with a time of 1 hour 39 minutes and 17 seconds. 14 resets, 3 blackouts at level 68, and a game time of 5 hours and 54 minutes. It's not a great performance. It's not really that
I don't get why they like still hit me even though.
Playthrough, it's fine, at least for now. I expect much worse things from the camera. Luckily, Sydney is going to be really easy. I don't expect any problems. Flamethrower is pretty good here, even against the Crawdon. I think it was just spamming attack a little bit too fast. That's okay. I use an Earthquake on the next turn. It doesn't do more damage, so
This one I can just skip right by.
I resume using the Fire type move, one shot the Shift Tree, attack turn, and the Axle.
Ah, I stuck. Good. Mushroom doesn't seem so good actually. I really just get from the pusher. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I'm trying to like chill and breathe and just not. Oh my goodness. I hate these. Why am I saying something wrong? I hate the spiders, man. They just jump all over the place at you. And it's just rough. Ow.
Which is annoying, but that's all it is. I create her ace, which is fantastic speeding results on. And then flamethrower
Bro,
one shots the
what are you doing?
the Sableye,
Stop coming
and the
at. Oh, and he
The
poisoned me?
fire type move is less useful against Glacier. The Wolverine line has the ability Thick Fat, which halves the damage from ice and fire type move. reserves. You'll see this reflected in the effective power in the bottom center of this.
Oh, wait, they're all divided.
Calculations,
I'm gonna
Flamethrower
die.
only has an effective power of 71. This makes Earthquake the far better move to use in this case. Maybe
Huh?
one shot the Celio and two hit the ball.
Where
But that's a
is
problem.
mushroom?
Then it's going to use Surf. So let's see how much damage it does to camera. And I've already taken some
Ooh,
damage.
ooh,
from
ooh. That
I
was
was
a
so
ton of health
surprised
right there.
everyone
Good
still
talk.
didn't want it. Camera survives and has red health left over for the remainder of the battle. Okay, I did think that was going to be a reset, but let's keep going. I'm taking chip damage from hail every turn, but I can use Flamethrower against the Glalie to get a one hit. For second Celio comes in, I almost used Flamethrower here, backing out, then choosing Earthquake, and I get another one shot. Perfect. Okay, the final Glalie is gonna go down, so camera pulls through. Now, I expected Glacia to potentially cause problems because I thought the Walrein was gonna get a surf. I kind of thought that I was gonna have to black out here a little bit to train up to like level 73 maybe to get by her, but I'm happy with this result. However, Drake is next, and he's quite surprising. The issue here is not the shotgun. I didn't heal, but I'm just going to use rest here to recover my health. I think it's because I didn't have a healing item, honestly, or I just forgot. It doesn't really matter. Actually, it does matter. These details are sometimes fascinating. I did have a healing item, but only one. I didn't want to use it. Of course, I wanted to use it before Wallace. Okay, here's the thing about Drake that was a little bit surprising to me. I didn't think the Flygon was going to cause significant problems, but it is going to cause significant problems. It has Levitate, so you can switch into it.
Okay, these might be like my new, like, least liked enemies. I'll be honest with you.
If I've had my speed lowered,
They're just
no
lumpy.
chance of moving first. And even with my speed
Come
unaltered, it was only 125 going into the
Come back,
battle. So
come back,
Flygon
come on.
was going to move first.
Charge at me,
Because
charge
of
at
that,
me. Yeah, that's what I wanted right there.
reset here and instead black
Look,
out
another
just a
something.
little bit more before I take on Drake again. Hilariously, this time I have a problem.
I'm
with
getting
Sydney. I didn't
all
expect
blue-green
that. I
flags.
think because of Sand Attack on the Crawdon, and it does have Surf, but after a Swords Dance, I actually miss a second Earthquake, allowing it to use Surf, and this almost one-shots camera. My next attack
Yeah,
does
look
not
at
do
that.
anything, so
59.
it takes me out with a follow-up Strength. Truly a strange battle. On my next attempt, I make it back in, as well as Phoebe and
come on.
Glacia. I'm only level 69 here, which is not particularly nice, but I can still survive the surf, so this battle is not a problem. I get the damage reaches I need against her final three Pokemon, and
Piece of junk.
looks like that's consistent, so I don't need to worry about her at this level. Although I think it's worth saying that if Camrock was just a few levels lower, maybe 65, it probably would really struggle here against Glacia. Okay, so I'm level 70 now for Drake, which gives me 128 speed. I'm faster than all of his Pokemon with the
I really don't
exception
like how I got
of
that
Salamence,
sound.
which has
This is gonna drive me absolutely
it goes
crazy.
rock slide, but luckily it does not.
So I'll probably reset after today.
I'm setting up with Amnesia to boost my special defense to hopefully make me take less damage throughout the battle. I don't think this makes a lot of sense because then my speed gets lowered and I don't move first against the Flygon, which hits with Earthquake, doing more than half. As a result, I can't get a second flamethrower in, and that's that. I waited out one more time here, coming back into the battle, this time with Return in the place of flamethrower. Also, at level 72, I have enough speed to move first against all of his Pokemon, but just to ensure that I still have good odds, I've also equipped the quick
I just don't get why it randomly won't play sound.
With Return and my higher speed stat, I'm able to two-shot the Flygon, taking half damage from Earthquake in the process. Next is Kingdra, and you would think that Earthquake would get a one-hit, but it doesn't, just barely. Luckily though, it's setting up with Dragon Dance, and he goes for a 4-star trying to save it, giving me another chance to attack. But I still don't have the damage required, so maybe I'll always fail that range, I'm not sure. This means Kingdra gets to attack with Surf, but because I raised my special defense, Camera survives. I knocked out the water type, move on to the Altaria, but I'm not in a good position. I go for Return, it sets up with Dragon Dance, then uses Aerial Ace. Camera survives at 1 hit point and knocks out his penultimate Pokemon. But his Salamence still remains, although my speed is intact, so I can use Rest before it attacks me. This is perfect because it chooses Flamethrower, likely because any of its moves would have knocked me out. It does pathetic damage, and then it starts using Rock Slide, which is still not doing very much. I wake up and slowly get to chip away, using Return, and Salamence eventually goes down to a lucky critical hit. Alright, Drake was a big surprise. I didn't expect this battle to be nearly this difficult, but it was. And that's before Wallace. Yeah, I think this is where camera is about to fall apart. Look at the timer. It's already doing much worse than Sharpedo. Okay, Whalers first.
There is one more of those. I'm sure this is the other skills.
So I choose return, hoping not to
It heals a fair bit.
bring it to low health, so that Water Spout deals very little damage. This is Whalord's only water type move. My hope is that I could eventually set up Amnesia, then use Rest and sweep his team. A return only takes the Whalelord to orange health, and Water Spout brings me down lower than the Whalelord. Okay, this is not going well, so I take a quick reset here after trying one Amnesia. In the next battle, I instead choose Earthquake for more damage. This does bring Whalelord to red health, so Water Spout deals much less damage. Then Steven is means a full restore, and I can set up with Amnesia, improving my defenses. If I now alternate to Earthquake, I can bring the Whalelord back down to low health, tank the Water Spout, and then set up more with Amnesia.
Why did it switch? Come on, it switched my weapons on me somehow.
Set up +6 defense. I hope that this is going to be enough. Tentacruel is next. Earthquake gets an easy one-shot. Then Ludicolo comes in. I use return doing more than half. It sets up double team, and I miss my next attack as a result. This means it gets to choose Surf, but because of my defensive setup, it really doesn't do that much. I finish it off and move on to the Whiscash. Now, I'm trying to play overly safe here using Rest, which is just not a good choice, because the Whiscash knows Earthquake, and it does a lot of damage to camera. Because of Rest, I'm asleep, and I have thrown away my chances to win. I make it back to the Whiscash in the next battle, this time choosing Earthquake right away. It takes it down to red health, it sets up
There's a freaking ghost.
Wallace uses some full restores trying to save it, but it doesn't matter, and eventually Earthquake gets the one shot. Now, notably in this fight, you'll see that my special defense isn't raised. I'm just trying to attack and beat all of his Pokemon as fast as possible. Maybe that's the superior strategy, but at level 73, I'm just barely not able to knock out the Milotic. Like, this is a painful damage roll. As a result of this, with Surf, the super effective move, also gets a critical hit, and Camelot has no hope of surviving. Okay, good news. I still have rare candies in my bag, a total of 6, so I'm going to use those now to boost my level up to 78 before trying again. I'm also going to teach Hidden Power in the place of Amnesia, so that then I have a super effective special move to use against the Gyarados after its Intimidate triggers. Now, I've given up Amnesia, so I don't have the ability to set up my defenses anymore, but at the higher level, I one-shot the Whalelord, so there isn't a good point for me to set up anyways.
I just realized there was a freaking log.
Two hit the Ludicolo. I just need to pray that it uses double team, but it doesn't. Instead, choosing Surf, bringing my camera up down to red health. Now, because he didn't set up the double team, he's going to use full restores here and just slowly knock out this trolling Pokemon. It takes time, but it's
Okay, let's see, what do I have? I don't get that anymore. I don't think I do anyway. I never do anyway.
Might have done that either way. Then
Let me double check and see if I can
level,
flip this around or something.
Gyarados and Hidden Power Electric manages it here too. Okay, Wallace wasn't actually that bad. I'm a bit surprised.
I'm gonna do this right quick.
A finish of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 30 seconds with 30 resets, 2 blackouts, level 78, with a game time of 7 hours and 30 minutes. Alright, it's not going to be Sharpedo. I think we all need this. It's a fire ground type, like, what are its chances? And for a guess, there is too much water in these games. But all of the water is behind us. I grab the leftovers, and then I head to Meteor Falls to take on Steven's Stone. I'm just gonna leave these here. You can watch it, right? You see the choices with me.
I probably have to get a new thing. Oh, boxes moving. Hold on. Over here. Nine.
Sadly, the chill chip. Safe like that. It's got to fix it, and it's sort of flexible payment options and get it fixed now. And pay later. It's safe like that.
You know what? I'm gonna call it there. I got to 65. That's not terrible.
Okay, check out this embarrassing fight. Look at my moveset. It's so weird. Earthquake, return, hidden power, electric, and rest. What am I thinking? I do get a critical hit on the Starmery, which is great.
Pause that real quick.
Earthquake,
By
obviously,
the way,
one
double
plus
check.
one
Make sure my
plus
sound is
six.
on
Nevertheless
for it.
follows. I have 146 speed.
It is.
Please
It's
note
like
that.
full
Okay,
blast
so I'm
almost.
able to move first, but I'm not able to one shot. This
Alright,
gives it
let's
to
do
its own earthquake, which does devastating damage. I have only red
Let's
health
do
remaining,
this.
but I knock out his ace. But he still has 3
Do
Pokemon. The
this.
next one is
Where's
Claydol, and I
where's
can't
my
really do
health?
good damage to it.
Yeah, because then I can go through and at least reset my
It has
lines.
earthquake, so camera fades. Okay, my moveset is atrocious, obviously. Let's go back to the move reminder and teach a fire type. I think Eruption might be my best bet, so I'm going to put it in the place of Return. Okay, so the fire type move is fantastic. I one-shot the Starmery, one-shot the Aggron, one-shot the Metagross, and move on to the Claydol. This is where everything falls apart. I failed to knock the Claydol out with a single Eruption, and so it does damage with Earthquake, lowering my damage, and as a result, I just can't knock it out after he uses a full restore. Okay, let's try an alternate strategy. What if I use Sunny Day in combination with Eruption? Then my effective powers go to truly absurd levels, like here against Starmery, where Eruption has an effective power of 742, well, until I start taking damage. I tried using Rust to heal, but this really isn't working out the way I wanted it to, so I decided to reset. In the next battle, I'm much more concise. Sunny Day, then Eruption to knock out the Skarmory. I use Earthquake on the Aggron, and then Eruption again on the Metagross.
I'm gonna hold
Okay,
on to
question
the
is, will
purple
Sunny
ones
versus
from
Eruption do
Southern.
enough damage to knock out the
Oh, I
Claydol?
didn't do
The
that.
answer is no. Plus, it sets up lights.
Okay, this is free.
This is not good. Now my eruptions are doing even less, but I am able to finish it off because Steven used a full restore. I move on to Armaldo, but I have no more eruptions left because my PP is small. I'm happy to use
Yeah,
Earthquake
that's
here, but it's just not enough.
That's okay.
I was close there though. I think I can do this. So Sunny Day turn 1, then Eruption on the Skarmory, Earthquake on the Aggron to save PP.
Let's
Eruption on the
see,
Metagross,
what do I
and then
need?
I actually roll better damage against the
Just,
Claydol because Eruption
I know
has
it's getting
no
late,
reason
shut up.
to. This increases Eruption's damage and gives me the one shot. I don't have to spend more of the fire type move on it,
I think
so
I
I
just
can
do this one
reestablish
right here,
Sunny
'cause-
Day and then use Eruption for the Armaldo and the final Cradle. Unfortunately, the grass type only takes neutral damage because it also has the rock typing, so
Yeah.
I'm not able to
That
one-shot with
didn't
Eruption.
work at all.
Then I
I
have
thought
to
it
use
would.
Earthquake
That's
to
gonna
finish it. This
close.
takes time, but it is possible. So Camerupt clocks in with its final first playthrough time, 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 24 seconds, with 34 resets.
Those just don't heal enough.
79, with the game
Neither do
time of 7
those.
hours and 56 minutes. Okay,
If you're a
Sharpedo
heal a
time,
fair
let's meet
chunk.
Steven Stone. I've changed up my moveset just slightly going into this battle, taking power Electric, Surf, Earthquake, and Substitute for defense. Also holding the leftover, so I'll gain back health throughout the battle.
I'm just
Surf
not
does
gonna be
slightly
making
more
as much
damage
as what I'd
than Skarmory
like
compared
to in
the
these
Electric, and it does less than half.
in this week.
That's not good. Skarmory poisons me with Toxic, and I don't have rest, so that's a quick
It's kind of
reset.
the
For the next battle, I realized that
I don't think
Emperor
a
Electric
big
is
issue,
really
but
good,
it's
so I
gonna
have
be a
to
little bit of an
use
issue.
instead. Also, I know to set up Substitute turn 1 to block Toxic so that I don't get hit by the status event. There is a
Just gonna
problem though,
grab
if the
that.
Skarmory continuously breaks my substitutes, then it's going to be able to use them again if I choose not to set it. And as my health gets lower, the Skarmory is going to get more and more offensive, seeing the knockout. I make another misplay here.
Still makes
So
70k though, that's
Ice
not
Beam
terrible.
does not have enough damage to knock out, so I get poisoned again and take another quick reset. Okay, so the way to play this is obviously substitute, block, toxic.
Alright, give me 2 seconds. I will be right back. I'm gonna reset. I wonder if I could just.
Right, Earthquake should be able to one-hit the Aggron, but you can't.
Let's see if I can just reset it.
Don't worry though, its
and
moveset is terrible. It does no Solar Beam, which is super
restart.
effective and does a lot of damage. It
See if that'll
uses
work.
this, wasting its turn, and
I'm still gonna keep the stream going.
Cradily is next. It's bad. It's really bad. Surf does the most damage, but it's not nearly enough. It also has Giga Drain, so it's going to be healing itself, and Sharpedo fades. Okay, so I should have Ice Beam. Let's do it again with Ice Beam. I'm making so many
Overall,
mistakes
I'm very
with
satisfied with how that day went.
Anyways, I make it back to the Cradily. This time I freeze
Come
with
on.
Ice Beam, but it
Just
just
turn on.
frosts right away and knocks me out. That's really frustrating. Okay, here's some damage range stuff. I can't two-shot the
I guess I could just.
this is once I make it by the Cradily. It survives, uses Earthquake with devastating damage. Steven uses a full restore, attacks again.
There we go.
Okay, let's look at my moves for the way. Like, what possible options do I have? I don't have a good setup move to use against him. Roar was useful earlier on in Crystal version, but I don't see it having much utility here. Once I make it to the Metagross,
I just had to unhook the
that's it. Sharpedo still has a lot of time.
dongle from the back of my PS5.
So I can do some more training, even though I'm
Alright, let's see.
Like at level 70, hoping for a better damage range against their Metagross, but just getting to it is difficult.
80 hours is
It's
crazy.
late, I'll have to reset on the Storm Reef, just keep attacking. This happens twice in a row. Then it makes the great damage finishes me. Finally, I get back to the Metagross. Okay, so will it have enough damage? The answer is, yeah, I will. Two shots, but it's perfect of too much damage, so I don't even get the chance. I need to have substitute in place. When I went into this challenge, I was expecting Sharpedo to not struggle against Steven. I picked up the type combination of yeah, but type coverage isn't everything. Let's move to the one more time. In this case, it's actually helping me because I'm using Earthquake against the Metagross. I'll need to have the 2-shot damage range. If I went with
My biggest issue, I think, is I know what I need to do as far as floors go, and so I'm like stressing because I'm barely making those goals. Like only having 7 days to clear the entire mine, it's a little rough, man.
It's not going to be super effective. This is a terrible tool. And that puts me in trouble because I saved over this. So, yeah, now I have to manage this situation.
And I know there's still like
Maybe I can use rest instead.
still so many floors for this.
This set is really not that good. So this fight has been surprising and unexpected. The conductor told the entire orchestra that he doesn't like surprises. He said, I don't want you to show up late, I don't want you to miss rehearsal, I don't like surprises, except for on my birthday and Christmas. I relate to that today. I don't like surprises. They've all been really bad. Okay, so what is the focus of our show? What abandon ship?
Oh, come on, go in the hole, thank you.
Surf is going to be wide. Issue sets me up. Where do I do that? If I'm going to set up something to begin that's one of these established even me trying to set up rain. So I felt like I needed
I walked right into that one. You like this time around? Not going as well as it should be. Like I can just tell when a run is kind of. Bro, where the heck is? Oh, I didn't realize there's a whole other section down here.
Yeah, camera is starting to look concerning. I have bled so much time trying to solve Steven Stone using your I go back to the train up to level 70. The full growth rate is starting to level like 80 and then solve Steven Stone wouldn't be an issue. By the time I tried to do that with Sharpedo, we were approaching astronomical levels. Okay, so here's the things that need to go.
It's just like the spiders. The spiders are what. Spiders and ghosts. Come on. Come on. Come on. Stop wriggling head out.
Giving itself one more turn, but also another chance to choose confused way. Which is what happens here, so I still have my six. Next is play test. This is where things are a little bit tricky. Instead of rain dance, you're going to see me then you start to feel the real damage. Now, all the football has set up like 360 cats, one like damage. The weather is still going to be around for the meta boss if I just knock it over like 2 turns, which is what I do. Now, they bring you stuff.
I'm like, trigger. Come on. Everything's so aggressive. Is there a zone ghost? So, silver lining? Three days first.
That's turned to my left. The first one I hit
I'm interested to see how hard the rest of it is.
it looks hopeless. My subs
Oh,
broken
good.
light screen wears off.
Maybe.
My next stroke with the final turn of
At least I don't have to deal with any more
damage.
goats.
Hit and Metagross fades. That leaves only Armaldo for the first time. The surf is super effective damage, it does enough, and even Stone is defeated. In my first playthrough with it, Sharpedo gets time of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 3 seconds. 34
Looks like a glitch of some sort.
with a game time of 7 hours and 24 minutes. Okay, these results are actually kind of close in a hilarious way. Look at this timeline graph. Sharpedo spent like a third of its time fighting Steven Stone. And this fight was so bad that it almost made it worse than Camera. Although the first round I did end up getting a worse fourth playthrough. It stabilizes split actually with these Steven Stones from Sharpedo's first the game time graph. This is freaking get interesting. Sharpedo and Camera each other for the mid game. In the late game, starting at Tape Live, the camera really required until the end with the slope of Torpedo's graph, really increased. You need to a lot more training. The level is also pretty interesting. You can see here my difference in approach with Parallel games. I use them early on with camera and then some later into the game, whereas with Torpedo, I tried to use them for the slope. The real trick is going to be I'm looking at this. These strategy is
And I'll put it in the
well, I said we come back around to Thief, and in the early game, Thief is not the choice. It might seem like a good idea to get Ice Beam a little bit earlier with Sharpedo.
No way.
It's trying to get Thief,
Yeah,
and then you can reach the field and see me put it against the one. Don't check out the biggest screen that I did in
schedule.
second playthrough with Sharpedo and talk about what I did to optimize this thing. First of all, I think there are 3 potential strategies at the very end. I'm going to talk about all of them, and some of them are absolutely amazing. The first one I'm going to do here is by far so thick. So here we go. The question of which level the baseball is, and that is a good one. I think 12 is pretty good. But the 2 are the Geodudes and 4 hit the nose pass. If I'm looking at 11, then I'm going to
Oh boy.
didn't seem like a good idea. At this level, I'm just barely able to squeeze through. Of course, like this is just a game where I'm going to do an extensive amount of training. I get to level 30 before taking on the Electric Tech Specialist. Now, technically, level 32 is slightly better, but I want to show you the level 30 damage range first. Remember, with the slow growth rates, the extra training takes a lot of time. So at level 30, which is going to get both of the dual and let's see all of Watson's Pokemon at this level, even with a speed negative nature. Note I have one for Brave Nature once again, specifically because of my Nectar is likely going to use the way we try to paralyze you, which static activates.
I was charging it like he's trying to do a Kamehameha or something.
Nectar does between 61 and 73% damage, and Megaton does between 51 and 60% damage. In this battle, I get the worst
There's 80.
Nectar static activates, but then against the
Oh,
which is even worse. If this happens, then I'm going to 2-hit. If it doesn't, I only have 14, so I can get the 2-hit. But if I lose here, I'm just going to block out and try to fight again. Watson, and if I don't get good luck, then I'll level up. At 31 Watson, 2 plus 7, and at level 32, I look it up to 1.5. Now, these pieces are specifically
These are the ones I like. Right here.
I'm not factoring in the chance that I can go with special defense and these ranges. So all of them are special, and that's why I think 30 was in this in the second playthrough, I defeat Watson on my first attempt. Okay, another surprise, and a good one this time, so let's keep going. I switched up my hidden power typing this time with hidden power. This is on the advice of Accident, so seeing his Sharpedo results, I swore his strategy, especially for the late game, as well as his hidden power type. Alright, so what's the strategy for now? Well, I have to admit, this is becoming a understanding for the fight. I I knew that I could eat the citrus berry from the stuff.
You can shoot over the rock.
Plus, using special moves here means that one thing about the AI, and they are always
Oh my god, is
so you see
four.
physical generation 3 to up with the spin that allows me to make the flat game and
What are you?
the way I had one reset here. I know if it's a spin with a special move and then sliding with the slot and knock it sharp. Previously the case before Kate and Liza, I am not going to use work because I'm holding off as long as I can with Sharpedo. Another factor of this playthrough being a slow growth rate is that I have to collect eggs for candies, which take a lot of time. This one, I have to navigate this little area and I also need to fly over to all over town to pick up the one on top of this water. Drawing your attention to this clip, everyone who's watching this thing needs to watch the screen right now. I forgot to use a repel. Oops, I should use more repel so we don't waste time on wild encounters that are shiny. Okay, another surprise for this video. In this case, it is a shiny Meryl. And I have to say, it's kind of a green teal color. This is literally my favorite color. And Meryl is incredibly cute. It's just tiny little round, like balls. It's so adorable, and it's my favorite color, and I love this shiny. However, I have a limited number of Pokeballs. Sharpedo will not be able to do damage without getting them off. So I have to throw Pokeball, after Pokeball, after Pokeball, and just hope that the 10 remaining in my bag will be enough. And they are. I catch the shiny Meryl. I decide to nickname him Teal, and yes, this will be a solo playthrough later on, probably in 2025. There isn't time in my schedule to squeeze it in during this year, but to get back on track, I know that before we start seeing that, just like before I use all of them, before I go to the you bring Sharpedo up to 16 steps. Moveset for the league is straightforward. Return, Ice Beam, Surf, and This is enough for season Glacia, and but then for Wallace, I'm going to change things up. Earthquake over Ice Beam and Hidden Power Rock over Now, I end up having so many problems using this strategy against Wallace. I thought it was going to be enough, but it really isn't. I'm going to go back to the drawing board for this one with my third playthrough, but for now,
Oh yeah, I forgot
continue
it.
with what I'm going to do against Stone. Again, credit for this strategy goes to Axel Sora. I never would have come up with this myself, because it was truly lurking in the ocean, far below all of my biases and everything. Okay, so get this. We are going to use Spell Bash to increase Sharpedo's defense against the storm. Since it's a normal type move, it's not going to do very much damage, and I can repeatedly raise my defense, taking less damage every turn. Now, this gets really wonky because I'm also going to be using Rage. So in Generation 3, this move boosts your attack and it while using Rage continuously. Unlike in Generation 1, though, I can just stop using Rage whenever I want and use Earthquake. So the goal is set up the defenses that take more damage, use Rest to heal, then use Rage to increase my attack stat, and finally unleash on Steven with Earthquake to knock out his Pokemon. Granted, I am going to have to use Spell Dash and Rage to knock out the Skarmory and the Claydol because they don't get hit with ground type. I never thought I'd be using Rage or Spell Dash in Generation 3, but here they are. That said, it has some downsides. If the Skarmory gets critical hits, things can fall apart. It's not an instant reset. Aerial Ace, which does the most damage to Sharpedo, does between 68 and 81% damage.
Be able to, I
Now,
doubt
the funny
it.
thing about this strategy is
Okay,
that
well,
while it seems like I have all the time in the world to set up a critical hit, I actually just Steven is only going to use one
What are you? You're something different.
Every time I hit it with Spell Bash and do more and
Like,
more damage, it's going towards the point where
oh, it's for
you don't want to take damage from it.
It's so good.
It's so good. I have to make sure that I get set on Skarmory and then knock out the rest of his team with the setup that I get. This means not pushing the Spell Bash I'll go beyond like +4 and probably not knock out the Skarmory soon with 2 little attack setup and then the rest of the power is going to be I have some research here and I had a lot on Wallace. Overall, this is a really imperfect run, but eventually I pull it off and I knock out the Skarmory with a good setup. I have with 4 +4, I'm able to one-shot the Aggron, one-shot the Cradily. I use a combination of Rage and Spell Bash to two-shot the Claydol. Earthquake takes care of the Metagross as well as the So I can do better with Torpedo. What's best to get? And then you can throw one more Torpedo and try to bug Maniac Angelo, the guy that
I don't know why I'm trying to fight these dudes. I don't need to.
Anyways, he's
Oh dear lord. No.
I don't know. It's frustrating. I just take the block out here and then try once. I've blocked this goal 6 times. So that's a total of 7 in this playthrough before I can beat. This is one of the things about Torpedo that's a little bit dissatisfying. I start to think it's my first time for fighting the and just pull in. Eventually, you get it after training. It's always a little bit dissatisfying when this happens. Sometimes you get results from this and it's very good. That's a such a block of here. Makes things easier. By the time I arrive at Roman, I'm a higher level. At level 37, I have a much higher percentage of chance to not spin the This means I'm prioritizing it from going to things like instead of prioritize things like yawn. This can mess me up because sleep is really important.
Ah, there it is. There's one right there. I think it's 3 of them now.
But then I emerge victorious. Okay, so what's my upgraded Wallace strategy?
I think it's 3 times.
It's kind of weird. It's not perfect, but I think it is the best thing to do if you want to fix this. Prefer the ice being less than substance. I'm going to solve my logic out. Once it's solved,
I need one more level.
Damage against remaining evidence is more easy. One thing you'll note about this strategy is that it no longer carries correlating.
I'm not gonna make it back to the thing in time, I don't think.
Also for this final playthrough, I'm now going to say a nature that remains the case against Steven Stone. All Rage and Scotch were really fun to do together. I don't think it's the best approach. First, my original strategy, which is surfacing and
Way down is opened up. Run!
myself, I could just do what I did
Go down,
before and
thank you.
have success. I survived Metagross's hit and knocked out the Arnaldo in a single turn. In my final playthrough with the Sharpedo gets a time of 1 hour 34 minutes and 31 seconds.
I have 195 out of 6.
Okay, so you might have thought it was strange when I was
Can I get
through my life, and I drew
the door?
the ideal thing to do. If I went back to do this one more time, I would revert back to Hidden Power. That said, I am by no means the best player with Torpedo. Once again, Hectic Killer comes in and gets a fantastic time of 1 hour 26 minutes and 58 seconds.
Alright, let's see how that is.
A different third option for Steven Stone. Surf, Earthquake, Substitute,
Ooh,
and
5 out of
Hidden
6.
Power Bug with a quiet nature. Honestly, it's pretty cool, but you have to overlevel.
I guess I could just... What am I doing? Pass.
Than this, provided he gets good R&D. That's the thing about Sharpedo. I think there's a lot of material.
Oh, because it's gone. I just make sure I don't get lost.
One thing I also want to mention is active Cursor when using the Stardew Valley Summer.
Let's
He
see.
actually got a Purpose. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So another really wild thing that is surprising about these ones. Okay, let's switch back over to the camera and see what I can do with these.
8, 7, 7, 6 equals 204, 6, 8, 4. And I lost. Nothing. Take it as a win. Heck yeah. Oh, we got one galaxy. Heck yeah. Thanks for that advice. You know, I really would if I could, but come on, they call.
So I have to finish the game with exactly 139. Now, 141 will be nice to go on Steven's game, but the current strategy that is required and the control of the
I don't even know what sword I got here. I think we're gonna hit 115 and just grind. I got to 95.
This is largely due to the fact that Cameron doesn't struggle with anything that's going to be this does put Cameron in a weird situation because when it's probably and the rival is coming up before Mobile City. Having faced his marching on is quite the
I wish I know if killing with enemies really the galaxy souls.
This is kind of important because it doesn't use portal, then I am always if I don't get hit by the attack, honestly, I don't love when it's more to make the feel to make it. So this is what I'm looking for. We get the long range, and then if I don't get them, then this fight is likely going to be a lot.
No messaging.
Although that's how I would do my favorite thing with camera with controls on this thing, and I didn't really want it. So I took the it's pretty big in the next section. But I want to talk about what happens after one second. So every trainer that I come across, I'm basically going to battle from here on out. My goal is to get to level 37 before taking on. This gives counter access to Earthquake, which is incredibly important. Without it, Norman is inconsistent because I'm either relying on magnitude hits or 2 hits per move like Rock Slide, which has bad accuracy. If you're the damage range, this is a level 37. The real issue here is that the Big Rock and Lightning routes it's constantly taking hits from the slide. Still have no one-shot all the members. Gonna go down for light.
I wonder if anyone's done a slingshot only challenge. That sounds absolutely disgusting.
So for this one, I have to train where I use all of the trainers in the next section of the game, including Wally, and that gets me to level 47 before I take on. Okay, let's look at my game. Now, you might be feeling from that I can't put on my this is not actually the reason is I think it takes more time than and I'm going to instantly once they reach level 45. And I can rely on Rock Slide for Winona. This next section of the run is perhaps the most unsatisfying for him. Because it needs to finish the game with 139 speed and level 78. I can't use my rare candies before taking Liza, which puts me in a tricky position because they're actually quite scary. Claydol has Earthquake, and the other Pokemon sleep, raise their special attack, and attack with moves like Psychic, which still do good damage. This is where I think Killer comes in and helps us. This doesn't seem to make sense. I use him for a more in a serious way on the channel, so this is its first outing. It's actually quite good here. This is super effective damage against the Unitone and the Sword. Claydol is actually both take neutral damage from both type moves. I have another solution for this. This is where we need to get into the late range of the double battle against Team Liza. So in my challenge, during the double battle, having these two Pokemon in your party in order to start the battle. Since then, I have evolved away from this strategy, allowing me to take one of my A2 users into the battle since it just gets knocked out on the first turn, just like magic. But for that reason, I don't allow myself to take in an HM user that has the ability to levitate or is a flying. Because that Pokemon will avoid damage from the Claydol's board. Because of that, I can give myself really advantage before the Claydol gets
Come on, man.
they see I have a really weak Halo, but the Clay Doll is going to be like, ancient power that thing, because I want to knock it out first turn, and then I will get hit by Earthquake with my camera, meaning I have more health to deal exceptional damage with Arc. I ran into some problems trying this fight at level 53 or 54, because I think there's suggestions that Summer starts like shooting stats with it. If that's the case, then you'll have but for me, what I mandate by taking the Zigzagoon or Pokemon, there's a difference. I think Earthquake, so my second option goes to Wizard. For that reason, I think it makes more sense to be a slightly higher level, 55 or 58 if you want to really. The problem with this is you start around with give good experience yields, training past level 50. You can see here that I arrived at Eliza just before level 55, and I decided to face it because there was a chance that I could win it. 53% chance to level this at. If that happens, I will definitely win. But if I don't, I still have
How do you get double tapped by the dudes?
the second turn to come up with a fatal. It's going to damage with my first.
Yeah, I shouldn't have did it. Okay. Give me a soul.
Then we turn to avoid hypnosis and finally the soul, which does take 2 turns.
Is it 3 Galaxy Souls for upgrade?
Makes the fight look really easy. I assure you.
So I'm gonna need what, 6?
If the Claymore is somehow able to survive 2 hits, they don't pump it out. He uses a second earthquake. There's almost a 0%
You need 3, okay.
time that scenario played out, I lost. So I learned never to play the left X twice with yes.
So like, bro.
By the way, it doesn't make the end game easier. One instance. Notice one solve its speed and its Kefra has 106. And you need to move first to get the ship and you might be wondering if it's Kefra that gives double team on the first turn.
Sorry, Grandpa keeps messaging me. He wants help with something today.
It's also a good question to ask. Do you survive a water pulse at this high level? And the answer is yes. Water pulse does between 64 and 75%. Damage at the level 60. That's over 2 damage. So I think the outspeed on Kingdra is needed here, and for that reason, I use through our candies for me camera 60 easy provided.
They're gonna hit me from across the freaking way with that dog.
Slide in place of hidden door. I forgot this in one of my attempts, and the run is basically impossible. I have to have blocks over to make and later into the game. And it is the first league member that's a problem. I'll go for Glacia though, just because you would be worried about the war. But you really shouldn't be. I haven't used for candies before this battle. The risk is I can set up my substitute on the first seal. From there I knock it out and move on to ball range, which when my substitute can get closer, and with 2 hits I'm able to knock it. From there we just want to get everything this way. Okay, candies going up from 64 to 76. It seems like this is overleveling, but really it is. Lower than level 78. Everything doesn't work, and it's always really disappointing. It feels like the Pokemon wants a Typer or a Knife's Edge to get a successful victory once they get over level 78. Everything falls
Oh, I thought there was a thing over here. Nope. 3,000 in one go. Get out of here.
The reason that's problematic is because I'm not going to one-hit the Salamence, and I only have a 63.6% chance to one-hit the Altaria using Rock Slide. Ensuring that I one-hit the Kingler just gives me a higher probability of winning the fight overall, and my odds are good against Altaria and the Salamence. And it's actually one shot the Kingler, and my odds against the Altaria are very good, so it feels okay. This is the battle.
You can't even get through there. That's
Once again,
wild.
like the killer's solution, hidden power is very 1276 count has 2.4% either way, this is a good thing. If I do get the one, I want to try and just one. But if I didn't get the one, it really just sets the pretty well balls. I'm not going to need a option for this battle because I have even more above to one-shot them. Although that's not a guarantee, they only have an 88.3% chance to knock it out. If it hits with Syrup, it does 87 and 103% damage, so I do not want it to attack, especially if I'm taking so much damage from the Whale Lord's Water. I tried this battle at level 7 and 6 and recently, without these damage ranges, it really is. I want to constantly, especially if you're using these 78 receivers. Beyond that, against the Wish Dash, I have a 64.8% chance to knock out the Earthquake, a guaranteed 160 might block it, and then against the Arrows, it's 55. Like doesn't damage in one shot, but that's before after Intimidate, it's going to get the 2-hit, provided it overhits. That's another reason I like to make this fight as consistent as possible on the earlier Pokemon, because I can't like fail against the Arrows. I want to make sure that every time I fight Wallace, I'm making it back here to the final Pokemon. Okay, but please don't notice I'm level 77, there's 37 speed. It's one less than my cross. So I go into this open with one more 78, getting 130. Well, that was the plan. But I have slightly too few speed EVs because I didn't even show up with 5 for Liza, so I only have 130. With the Metagross, though, I knew first I'm going to have to pay for this. The answer is so simple. Sunny Day, no rope. I set up Sunny Day, and then I spam rope. It's going to launch the Starmie, the Aggron, and the Cancel. Those are his 4
What is this shit on top of me?
Then the trade all this screen, set up light screen, survive eruption, and attack with Earthquake, dealing massive damage. And once I've taken damage, then eruption is going to deal significant damage to everyone I've students. For this reason, it is possible to use fire blocks. This is you can still have a good fire technique to use it. I don't really like that strategy. This one is good. If I have to go to the boss, then I have this one to do. It all takes 2 turns to knock out that. In this case, those are all two. Get his defensive to the biggest down. I reestablished Sunny Day from there, 2 more eruptions. Finishing off Steven Snow. And here is another surprise. I clock in with a flash camera slash 1 seconds with 5 resets, 0 blackouts at level 79, with a game time of 5 hours. Hey, I didn't expect these results. Camera did really good. I get any sponsor of this video, really. If you don't know, it's a platform where you learn by doing with thousands of interactive lessons, data analysis, programming, and AI. The lessons are designed to be uniquely effective with a first principles approach, helping you to build understanding from the ground up. You'll develop critical thinking skills through problem solving. Brilliant also helps you develop a powerful daily learning pattern. And it's even easier to learn now with their new mobile experience. After watching my videos, you might be curious about coding, so their applied Python programming course can help you understand code. And believe me, doing so has modeled up my life and content in so many ways over the last few years. Now, something I've learned while developing my understanding of code is that a strong foundation in mathematics also really helps when creating software, especially when delving into the horrors of Pokemon intelligence. Brilliant has you covered here. They have math courses in
I'm sorry, I'm Googling everything.
To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for 30 days, visit brilliant.org/sponslots or scan the QR code on screen. Use the link in the description. Now let's get back to what I was going to say about Camera. Okay, I didn't expect this. Camera actually completely destroys Sharpedo. I think I could get Sharpedo's time down a little bit more, but the inconsistencies around Watson are just not what Camera has to deal with. It does walk a knife's edge, but it doesn't quite consistently outside of the rival full level city. That's really the only battle where I'm rolling the dice. So I guess Fire-type fans were choice because today Camera wins in the region that had...
What do you mean you can't find him? Didn't you send him a message?
Overall has been a very surprising video to put together. We had Regents, Calabash both get used, a shiny get captured, and then the underdog come through with what is a surprising video. Just for reference, if you want to see how dominant Camera is,
come here.
it is faster than Sharpedo. But it is the entire world. If you look at all the timeline graphs for all of Sharpedo's playthroughs, you can see that there's a major improvement between one.
Okay, so I can just set this to dangerous and so I can just keep coming back to farm. That's not
Things
terrible.
are similar, but it's
I was thinking I would just lose it.
massive improvements between run number 1 and run number 2, and then modest improvements above there. One thing I do want to note here is if I only did 3 playthroughs camera, it still would have got a better time than Sharpedo doing 3 runs. So with the same number of runs, it also outcompetes. If you wonder or you think it's unfair that I sometimes do different perfect runs with each Pokemon, I get that back, but I do value my time. I don't always want to do more playthroughs with a Pokemon if I don't think I can significantly improve the results without just getting much better. In this case, the reason I did more playthroughs is I wasn't playing the strategy well when I did it in number 2 and number 3. I feel like I reached for the strategy and my own player execution. Whereas with Sharpedo, I think there's just much less that I could improve as a player. I encourage any of you to try these strategies yourself and
Magic Quiver! You suck. That's not terrible.
Finishing the game with great hits, but just in case you want to see something, I'm going to show Sharpedo with the Skull Bash Rage strategy, just in case you want to try that out, because it is really fun. Okay, tier list time. We're going to start with the first playthrough tier list. Sharpedo's time of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 3 seconds earns itself a placement behind Roselia in the sea. Kenmark's time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, earns itself a placement just behind Braving and Dustbox near the top of the D tier, where a whole bunch of Pokemon are clustered. Although some of them, like Blaziken, specifically deserve much better results, like S tier results. Blaziken is an absolute beast. Looking forward to playing it again in the sim. Switching over to my second playthrough tier list, I just want to mention that the right now all kinds of stuff. You really need to rebalance them in the start of the game. Taking them in placement here is behind the way. Earns itself an S tier placement behind Breloom and Jirachi, and hilariously ahead of Mewtwo. You might think this is weird. Scott, are the results from Mewtwo stale? It got a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 10 seconds. And yes, I have learned a lot since I played it at the beginning of 2024. Its results aren't that early. I eventually think Mewtwo will outcompete Camera and get a higher placement, but it's not going to go that much further. Just because
I made like 30K today. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to take time to go through and actually get this all situated again, because it's looking a little rough there.
The camera got a very impressive place. Okay, so from here we are going into daily December releases for Emerald versions. There are going to be some legendaries, which are
But I'm about to make some bank off all these eggs and stuff. I'm going to have to spend the whole day in the mines. Hi, baby. What you doing, good girl? Huh?
To me now, this part is incredible. We'll see you in the next one.
For 500. Man, what am I gonna buy for 5? Oh, I didn't even clear that out yesterday. Crap. I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised I got through there as fast as I did. I don't have.
And at the time, I said this about yeah, might be it. Maybe it's I was in that video I went on to explain that the reason I did not like Link Stomper is because it fell so far below my expectations. It is, after all, the speed running Pokemon in Emerald program. All of us coming back to season 3 today, I expect that the results are going to be very different. So let's get into it. Some of the rules by the all the weapons. All three of the servers have mediums local effects. They have the abilities Overthrow, Blaze, and Torrent, which raises the power of their primary type of move when they're below 33%. It's pretty good, and it's an ability that I always forget in these solo challenges. So if I'm ever saying something like, wow, I rolled better damage, no, it's probably because one of these abilities activated and gave me more damage. I'm sure all of you will catch moves like this and gave me a nice boost with the unit. Now on to base stats. Sentinel has 78
Yep, nope.
defense, 120 105 special attack, and 85 special defense. So it's something that is a fast special attacker with long range physical stat. That's okay, it only does one type. Generated 3, his typing deals exclusively special attack. Voice Skin, on the other hand, is far more balanced. 80 HP and speed, 70 defense and special defense, and 120 attack and 110 special attack. It has two typings, fire and fighting. Of course, it is the first of a series of firefighting starters, which really got old by the time we were going into Generation 6. I have to say, Delta was a nice relief, although it's not the best design for a Pokemon. That said, when I saw Incineroar's legal design before Generation 7, I was terrified that it was going to be another firefighting. Anyway, back to Generation 3. Blaziken's design with base stats is a nice complement to the two typings. Fire is special and fighting is physical. And if you haven't seen any of my Generation 3 videos, the fighting type is fantastic in this game. And I know that it's going to give Blaziken a significant edge. Okay, now over to Swampert. It has 100 HP, 110 attack, 90 defense, 60 speed, 85 special attack, and 90 special defense. By far, it's
Okay, I'm gonna go talk to what's her face real quick, see what she has available.
Special damage. Luckily, it's secondary typing ground deals physical damage. I would say of the three Pokemon who initially appeared with
Alright. Overall, mines weren't that bad. Literally, the hardest part about the freaking mines were the, roommate came home. And so she's tripping out.
Pokemon on her team. It's just for coverage. I get the SL students don't see a Pokemon that hits out in outside, which is the main thing that they
Bash my knee off the freaking coat. I think it was. I don't know. My knee hurts now. You've got to relax, homie. It's not that big of a deal.
Anyway, at base 70,
She thinks I'm mad at her.
Team and HM somehow gets access to a lot of moves.
My bad, everybody. I was busy.
Solar Beam, Iron Tail, Earthquake, Dig, Brick Break, Rock Tomb, Dare
I'm about to
Blades,
have 1,000 hits.
which can sometimes be helpful against rocks. It also gets access to a lot of tutor moves, but so many of these are walled up in the Battle Frontier, Sword Stance, and Level Punch, so I won't use them there today. An advantage for Sapphire in the early game is the fact that it also gets access to the Ellipse TM, which is the first TM available to the player. It teams out right now.
Oh dear lord, I have a ton of age. Alright. That's pretty good.
After that, because of the meetings, the work rate stepped out was level 13, and now it does take on 4%. Geodude 1, one shot with a draw. Geodude number 2, one shot with a draw. As this Pokemon has a strangely high special defense stat. If I get a 4, 5 hit, I might not finish pass out without using its ordinary or rock sanding closer. Good speed and progress in the battle. He probably knows that's
Got these here.
then get a gold see if it gets 4 times in a row, not get out so he doesn't use any focus. Sethao gets a first split of 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Basic in his early game is not
Oh dear lord.
you think the fighting type would give an advantage against Roxanne. It doesn't start with any fighting type.
There's like 1,000 different types of notes.
It's fire punch, scratch, growl, focus energy, and tempo.
I wish you could do like save spots, because I would definitely save before Luau, so that way I could go do it.
Level gets focus energy and tempo again at level 13. Only getting double kick at level 16. It's probably at level 17. And beyond there, it's kind of go downhill. It's move at level 36, which is late. That's a power of 8.
I definitely missed out on some stuff. Not that big of a deal.
Blaze can also get stabbed, which is very similar to Blaze Kick after 453. However, I don't think this is going to be that useful that has very different accuracy. And using something inconsistent is just generally not very solid and solid doubles. I think there will be better options for Blaze. Speaking of better options, let's go through the big names here. It's Alpha, one of the most fantastic moves in Generation 3. This is the reason fighting types are so good. So good. The power of this most Blaze is going to be a perfect big rip break. And their release is great. Everything else on set is super relevant. The fire type moves roar and fire punch. I have a feeling that this fire type is not just used in fire type moves once it gets past the wall. In the early game, I do take my time. I'm going to fight the majority of the trainers, if not all of the trainers, inside of Roxanne's gym. I level up the trainer team, but I didn't feel going up against the rock type using Ember. So the Geodude line is essentially weak to Ember. Defense. The nose pass is a completely different story. It does have rock. So continue by trying to move up 16, leveling Blade to level 16 for this gives is super effective again against Roxanne, able to one-shot the first Geodude. I did take my time setting up the focus energy. I don't think I really needed.
I don't know where I put them.
Blaze can level up to 17 after
Oh, there they are.
before I teach him like I said, I teach him the first focus energy, then move on to the nose pass. Double kick gets a critical hit. As a result, for Ace goes down for a single hit. Because of the early game training, Blaze this time against Roxanne isn't quite as good as happens. It gets a flip of 7 minutes. In the early game, I this one for very similar nature set. He doesn't get access to a TM like Gold Seed, but I can grab the claw inside the trainers.
I'm gonna just straight up go buy a whole stack of wood.
Inside the gym, I have trainers level 14, and then I take off Roxanne. One shot for Geodude, the nose pass takes longer to defeat with the water gun, but in the end, the water rush. I don't think I'll be Roxanne's only right now that puts it in the lead ahead of Sethao by a small amount of time. Where Blaze King is in a distant third place. One of those that could be
How much is that actually?
in this case, it was
Shot.
it has 55 base power and it's 95.
This is about. I mean, if you have the money, might as well. I didn't grab my hat.
this would be an early run to the battle if there was an advantage. Then you run into health. And again, the healing move is hard to punch as you're going over. But I put water gun into the end of it. That leads to the Macropita. Mud shot doesn't work. Okay, rival coming up next for one talk about him. The mistake that I made last time was not picking up this ball and slave but in order to do that consistently, I think that you need level 15. In order to get there, I grind against the trainer level beach as well as the beach house earning myself once I defeat the trainers in the museum, I am level 53, and I think at this point I am overrated. Because I go into the trick house, what there there. I also battle trainers in the surrounding region, leveling up to 26 before I finally take all the drive. If I lose, I'm going to be so disappointed because within the next 3 levels of time. Slugma, of course, is equal to water gun, sending me blood shot on the profile. This lowers its speed and does more than that. Several challenges defeating 2 Pokemon at once. Double battle. This fight would be hard. I have a hunch here that the developers realize that smaller especially because there aren't really a lot of ground types available. For player prior to Watson, let's check. Route 101, no ground types. Route 102, 103, and 104 are all the same score. Route 116 is where things change. You get access to the new. I do want to mention, it evolves at level 20. If you evolved it, it would lose its ground type and become a type which is not. Yes, potentially, it could be useful. I do want to mention the fact that it's like super sonic, will still be able to talk it out. The first and only evolved ground type useful Watson is Kandu. That is not a lot of options for players going up against a powerful ability type spike. There's my evidence as to why Swapper was designed for the ground type in combination with the wall. You can kind of see this design philosophy playing out as well into a wall where Torchic and gains the fighter type and it's strong against walls. I did some training around Volvo City, but not that much with Swapper. I don't think it really needs it. So now let's take that focus. One plus the whole the alien strike and of course one plus the Magneton to the whole that means it's pretty important to get the ground types. The only move it can use for damage is instead of however, Mudshot just comes through and gets a couple of the Walker has an incredibly against Rolling beaten over and over and over again. Level 16 which is not helpful against white types. I do think the alternate rival battle just program for more experience to give such a higher level by the time you make it. The next one is pursuit. It's not very helpful. I got the 6-star and then I started some training on the team. This is where I realized that I had forgotten items that could help me. I never make the one that worked all the way back here on chapter 3 and just like the Swamper, I bet Jim responsible for this brings such a lot of level 19 before ready. My damage is not great. Let's see if the 3 hit does just over half. Then it's stripped with Roy, top doing about half of it. Rattle before the move. Luckily, I can use the floor to heal back my health here, especially if Roy when I want to feel he doesn't. So, when I take on the Magneto, I get a lucky to hit the move. So let's see after the I take new best in Generation 3.
That's lightning needs to calm down.
He needs a super sturdy king, Jack. it's once, twice, 4 times, and 5 times knocking out Brawly's face. Okay, perfect. That's what somehow needed. Granted, I'm not really about problems. I didn't think I was going to have too many problems. Could have had 1 or 2 weeks, that's all. Especially if the Macamita got set. Honestly, for Beach, I got myself a sub sand. It will be useful later on, but somehow gets there. Then there's the button trade. Just like this rock, which this is where arrival of the map has something less. Unlike with the one shot, I don't have a movement. To make it really useful here, but what I am relying on is the fact that I'll spend my skill to get this energy, provided it doesn't get critical hit, or I can be able to knock out the and after I start dealing damage to it, it's going to be a 3-hit, so I was feeling pretty confident. It uses Ember, in this case, doesn't get a critical hit, so somehow survives and knocks out the 6. Finish off the light rate easily, and well, I am almost ready to knock the lead along the way. I picked Fisherman Dale. I thought this battle was going to be fine, but I was really wrong. He has a really cool. I choose Absorb against it because it's craft. I shouldn't have done this. Temple has really good special. Then uses Supersonic. Somehow hits itself a ridiculous number of times. It's poisoned along the way. The double status condition. I'm not able to heal on the Wilmer with its orb, and
Okay, let's see.
I am
What's it
not going to battle
called?
rival again. I'm going to take a blackout here. Really annoying anyway, practice like this, so yeah, I have to walk all the way back. Fight Fisherman Dale again just for revenge. This time I use pretty tactical and in one shot slow the turn. Okay, let's think about some of the turns.
1.723 days.
She has 2 Roselia. Now I'm drawing your attention to her because these Pokemon give special attack. She's a Metaphor battle, but there are also a lot of other trainers with Roselia that like more special attack EVs.
I didn't think.
Seeing the results in Emerald version, I really do think battling them makes the most sense in special attack. During this played and really performance with Sapphire, I also go overboard on training here, but this is all towards a purpose because I need to prepare for primary with coming up right after Bloods. So while this might be overkill for the very next gym leader, it's definitely going to be important for what because last time around I needed a ridiculous level of beat. The first time I needed 42. Anyway, first we needed to beat Watson. I go into this fight at level 33. We played as if the whole floor of the Electrite and then 2 shots.
Bro, are you serious?
A Cherry Berry. I don't have paralysis by the time I make it to the network. It is going to paralyze me before it Watson always you control when his Pokemon are slower than yours. That doesn't matter though, because Sentinel's going to survive long enough to get in the So Watson's out of the way with that. I earned myself the 3rd badge. It is a speed boost. So Sentinel is basically faster than absolutely everything. That is one disadvantage that it has. Most smaller enemies are mostly physical attackers, whereas the badge boost from Roxanne's badge is not really helping Sepel because it's boosting its attack, and I have to wait all the way until it gets wisely to get a special attack boost. This is very unfortunate because I'm area and I could use a special attack boost to get to her. While Leaf Blade is not very effective, I still think it could be my best go-to move against her. We will do damage calculations on this later in the video.
Oh, don't screw up my stuff.
Still, Sepel does have other options available to us. Pick up the secret power TM for a more powerful but put in place. Like I said, it's then in follow-up, I grab the TM for the it's going to be super effective against flannery Pokemon, so I teach that in the so at the top of Mount Jimmy, I have to take on Maxie. This fight's pretty easy because it really doesn't mess up stuff. One shot at the end, Leaf Blade, next piece engine, choice, these are in this case, I think we play makes more sense than also the ground type
I guess it'd be a good time to go cut down a whole bunch of trees like I need.
You can wait all the way back to the right for the return camp and play improve my effective power. So it's give me a little bit more damage. Pokemon. Okay, so level 38. Let's see if that has Numbing is first. I go for big and one shot for lead. That's a good way to start this one. Next is check out this one with type 2, so I can go underground and escape against it with zero back down. But this is not able to one shot with the camera landed over each bringing somehow that I use big again for damage, and this is definitely a mistake. So I know he chooses the hyper potion. As a result, my next dig does not get knocked out with the camera. That's the first reset of this video. I do have to get lucky with a critical hit against the aggro. Go down to hit the full health to the lane. Big one plus the sludge, and all that's left is full. It sets up with Sunday when I do. My move does less than half, and then he uses overheat burning away 7. Now, Flannery has some strange AI quirks. One of them is that she doesn't like to use overheat if she doesn't see that she's going to knock her over. I think that Torkoal is not going to knock over that power one hit at level 38. What this means is that it's going to roll between Sunny Day and Frost. That's what happens here when I go underground. There's no damage to it before it sets up the sun. That means I can get a second take off avoiding it overheat. And I get very lucky with a critical hit knocking the Torkoal out before it chooses over. So I didn't have to wait for 10 minutes for a powerful fire thing. Septile comes through with a victory at level 39 and it'll do 2 resets. This went very well. Okay, time for the fire chicken. Let's see how Blaziken does in this section. Okay, after Roxanne, I teach it Rock 2. One of my least favorite moves, but it's still helpful for coverage here and there. This could be optimal rival battle, and then you have to do that. Since I did a bunch of optimal training before Roxanne, I'm going to skip all of the things inside the world, gym, and go straight for him. Because when I defeat him, I get called back, which is one of the best moves for a fighting type. I want it as fast as
Where did this come from?
Spectre's super damage, but I do want to point out the fact that double kicks base power is 40. That per hit, and it gets 2 of them every turn. So that's an effective power of 90, whereas X effective power is 70. Here, I should be using double kick. That said, though, it doesn't really matter much how putting down without problems. Next is Appetite. I can just attack away and eventually it will fail. It's a psychic tech, so using double kick doesn't make sense here. Last is Necropita. Again, I should be going to a double kick, but he chooses to ball it out. After a single attack, I have nothing enough damage. And it also gives me Citrus Berry going back to 3. As a result, it continues setting up, getting a second bulk up, and then it chooses reversal when it's at low lead. It completely steamrolls Blaziken. Alright, not my best play, I will admit. I come back. In this case, I am still using the deck, which is the wrong choice. Anyway, this time it works out for me. Blaziken survives the reversal on low lead health, uses one more tech, and rolls a Stardew. At least my mistake didn't cause a major flaw. I can
Good
up right away in case of Ember. I don't have access to any more specials. Here's the thing about this kit. I feel fire type, and I very well in the it's not because of that. It's exclusively because it's a fire type. The fire type only serves to hold Blaziken down, and I hope I prove that to you until the remainder of this video. My moveset now is all just double kick, drop, attack, and I have rough and badge boost, which increases my attack stat, which is already increased by my nature, which is this lowers my special defense, and I don't do Blaziken needs better. You might be worried about walls, and that's really fair. I am also worried about walls. Increasing my special defense by 10% is probably not going to be what I need to make it easy. I'm going to rely on bulk up, and I think it's going to be enough. I'll be able to Blaziken goes into a battle against Rival 2 and I'm not over level 21. This is because he leads with a Laundry when he has the Farmcom team, and that essentially just gives me a free setup with bulk up. If the Laundry uses Browse to lower my attack against the big Laundry, you're setting up that plus one if you're to have an attack. I go for it against the Farmcom. It doesn't look like it's going to run well. The second hit with double kick gets a crit, and with that, the Farmcom goes down. Overall, a really simple battle. It continues being the game both against Watson and only level 24. I chose to set up here against the full form, but this is a checkable thing. I should be setting up against the attack, right? Because its moves cannot paralyze. The only way it paralyzes you is to attack it against the deck. And this can have a that it blocks it into the block. But I do everything else here. I need to put the full form up +2 and then attack that wheel. I will double kick activating the deck. This kind of play first to blocking. I think I've been every area trying to
Oh, crap.
nothing will do an extra, and I figured here, even if Blaziken gets paralyzed because it's slightly slower, I'm still going to have to get to take care of it. I would like double kick gets the job done. Over the next section, the moves that upgrades for Blaziken that have potential. Secret power could be better than Tech, because Tech is just not really good outside of early damage. Also, I could teach Dave for super effective damage against Flannery, and that was also really helpful against Norman just around the front. Here's the thing though, every time I teach a move, I have to open my inventory, find the right bag, pop it, then use the TM, select which move I want to make. There's always the chance there that I make a mistake and click on double pick and upload my fighting with the code. I know that seems silly, but it's really not that things challenges for mistakes happen very quickly. So one small lapse of focus and everything can fall apart. Plus, there is a time cost for teaching new rules. So it's again, I just don't think it needs to. Let's continue with the run in case it should be able to speak a little bit, but then the camera gets magnified. Oh, are you kidding me? Anyway, it one shots played. It instead chooses moves like tackle.
You have a whole tent. Why are you just chilling outside? What's wrong with you? I mean, as long as your tent doesn't leave. Why are we building Pam a house and homie lives in a tent, though?
What I need to be doing is take mud shot against the people towards the system that you did to avoid damage. Anyways, I'm so savage. Known for overlooking plays like this. In the end, I was beating the fucking wall, but I need this time I get the victory. It's Norman defeated. Swampert moonshine. Slurp in the place of the water gun. Slurp is Swampert's go-to food, at least for the majority of the people. Also, you need to get outside of battle is helpful now because if you go to the abandoned ship, you pick up the ice cream, which is going to be extremely helpful against the windmill and the next game. Plus, it looks against the rival robot, and now I can simply one-shot craft. But I don't
I like how everyone else is like, ah, it's the green rain, run. And I'm just like, I'm a farmer. Got a farm.
Slower with 82. If you want the path, Pokemon like this case Swampert is not fast. Hilariously though, this would be fast Pokemon is fair him. Like Swampert is still good out. Proteus dice. It's called a green you'll start with a hyper potion and then bacteria, basically damage. Damage is by 50%. They have hideout, and then I explore for a cave for the river. I'm grabbing the maximum plays conservative. Alright. For this battle, they have two roles. And I'm probably going to be relying on Surf, even though it is so effective. Okay, let's see how this
Run! Run faster! Where's my thing at?
That said, I am using Surf. Either way, it doesn't matter the outcome of the battle just because substitute is so fantastic. I grabbed myself an earthquake TM for a while, finish off Archie. It came out way, now it's actually the last game of the earthquake.
That's why we didn't adapt to the animal yet.
Well, basically first, set up substitute, and the waterfalls, then use earthquake to knock it out. Earthquake one falls the fall of Miscash, Vacilio, the Grotto, and I make it to the king. It survives, set up double team. Hyper potion which misses, then my earthquake hits, bringing it down to red health. The hyper potions again, and then it's 70 frustrating, but eventually earthquake just gets a second. The only reason he ever wins is because of double teams. For the league, I'm going to do some heroes. One of them involves inside the cave, and this team is for first guy. After that, I go back to Stardew City, where I go to pretty camp. It isn't even helpful against it. I also go to Deliver Airports, because it's particularly helpful during the I teach you break in this place, and then
At least, as far as I know, like the majority of what I need is all the teleport thing.
Single hits the lightning does
That's useful.
special damage, so it can't be They win, but it's like
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
the rival before city. I think I should even
Where did I put it?
in the end, I didn't even that's how I'm going to mention this book because it's very I mean, in there are now you don't need this you can go to like what's the in world like hidden that the joke or then I go get this doesn't have a great manager here. We're able to come up with families or exposed hopefully he doesn't next developer gets really annoying. Yes, and it's demo area again, anything back to the old period, never they just get getting get but this doesn't make it close to sexuality. That doesn't make it close to and I believe this is what the more curious like this chooses the move again, giving me a brief moment of insult rival. This gets really bad in the slow version. There are rarely Pokemon that struggle against him. The only fight the entire playthrough that ever causes issues is right through just before Bloodless. At that, so easy to get my head into the department store and just vitamins for some. In this case, it's 6 calcium. Special. Just like one to go to the top floor, and just like this is by far the best job. It makes the fight against Matthew really easy because in my hand I can't.
What are you doing?
Every face you get into your Pokemon very rarely choose to take down. It only
Oh, I turned the light and like shuddered.
One magic card has his lead and 5 Gyarados. Fighting him is an incredible experience. With Sceptile using Leaf Blade, which is special damage, so I don't need to set up substitute, but we can do that on magic card before all the Gyarados. Weakness is still fast and possible. I do not want to use Rare Candy before playing because I'm really worried about speed. I need to make sure that Sceptile gets to a high level to defeat him. So I'm going to save my Rare Candy for now and see if it's possible at level 15. Turn 1. Play also Statue goes for Psychic, not the Physics, even and Earthquake does not break the stuff. Then it play.
Oh crap, okay. That's how long I've been away.
Played against it, leading it doesn't more than half. Statue continues setting up its own line, giving me the. If you're worried about Arcade's Crobat, you really shouldn't be. This Pokemon very rarely. I should find that Crobat is more of an issue. That's the only issue. In it, and in this case, Archie just slows me down. Okay, Quan. Yeah, I'm gonna spam Leaf Blade for this entire fight. I assume I'm gonna want to know his Pokemon with the exception of Kingdom. Since Leaf Blade does not get the one hit, it's a double team. Yeah, I get Brick Break, I defeat Wally, and then I do something special and exclusive to Scepter. I hit it to Meteor Falls and explore the back chamber. Requires me to pass one all. This is shows up how damage against Ray. Okay, take lines that haven't been a problem in this play so what about the lazy kid? Fighting? Well, first we have to get through the tournament, and surprisingly here things did not go my way. I set up once on the split up, I figured this was going to be enough, and it looks like it is. I knock up big for all this stuff. Once Locking comes in, I go for double kick, hoping to get with one shot, but lazy kid does not have a chance. As a result, Slacking uses the counter and plays this is a silly way to lose in this fight. On the first turn against Slacking, you set up with all your stats more avoiding. Then choose double kick on the next turn and double the Slacking and rival City, set up one of those long ranges like before, then up inside the Fortune City gym, Blaziken because it reaches level 6 where is that even really like a special move for this thing? But I think it has a niche here because it really nice stuff. I didn't want to play risky against the strong in the beginning of the battle because it was very strong. Instead, I just took a double pick and went next does have a really take move early. It's not very good. It's also like the setup is it can be a little bit more organized. Plus 2, I choose Blaze Kick with the grass type and done the power. It actually does not use Protect, and I don't have anything single turn. Alright, that feels good. Last is Altaria. I go for the turn. It does more than half. The Dragon type sets up a Dragon Dance, chooses North Wake on the next turn after I'm speeding Blaziken. It does a lot of damage, but not enough. With Winona out of the way, we now need to start thinking about gaming sides. Instead of the Warriors Organize, I full protein with physical attack and full cargos to Blaziken for game. It's not really that bad. Just like with the other two Pokemon, I go to the roof and teach substitute. Right now, my moveset is double hit for turn, substitute, but now I need to make these moveset a little bit. Because with Blaziken, I have to make hidden power ghosts. If you didn't already know, fighting a ghost type moves will never have neutral coverage against every single Pokemon in the game, and they're going to have super effective damage for a game wise. To make them as easy as possible, once Blaziken levels up to 45, I use where I can is bringing it up to level 57 before I go for the double. I don't think I have time to set up, so I'm just going to go on the offense right away. Give the power to look at the Claydol so that I don't get hit by Saturn one-shots medicine. We need two Pokemon to initiate this battle. Unit containment next, so on the target again, because I have a person very contained for Saturns to use with. But without a chest over the hypnosis could be dead. Hidden power gets the drop on this opens the next, and Saturn chooses Psychic, this time getting a critical hit, knocking Blaziken. If it hadn't crit, I definitely would have survived, so that's a good discipline. In the next battle, it instead chooses to go for Confuse Ray, which I shrug off to the again, I know exactly what we don't want to get hit by no stats condition.
There's alcohol bottles everywhere.
Exactly what we want. With fighting type Pokemon in Generation 3, hidden power ghost is pretty much always what you want. Okay, Maxine Tabitha, easy. Arcane, also easy. Finally, it is time to upgrade Blaziken's Saint of Attack Ball. Into Rockville City, I grab Brick Break and teach this in a place of double pick. Bomb is next, and while you might be worried about type effects when it's don't worry, Bomb is pretty fast. The fact that obvious cases gives me time to set up the ball cup, I have a person ready to counter. Engine, knowing the love this does confuse me, then I'm just going to go on a sweeping. Brick Break, one shot Helio, one shot Prodon, one shot the Whiscash, and that leads to Kingdom. Of all of his Pokemon, this is the most likely to survive, but Blaziken is too strong. Wally is too weak to warrant in-depth narration. Now, let's go into the Elite Four with all three of these starter Pokemon and see how they do. Sydney is first. For Blaziken, this is going to be if I want to dodge it, set attacks. As long as I don't set up the bulk up +4, then I will be able to knock it out. Remember, Wolf has decreased priority, and even if it seems that you have +3 and attacks that and tries to use it, as long as you're going to knock them right out, it's fine. In this case, though, I don't even choose to set up. I just sweep with Brick Break. Blaziken one-shots every one of his Pokemon. Substitute gives me free setup against Phoebe because the first Dust Box is terrible. Then I can use Hidden Power Ghost to one-shot the remainder of her Pokemon at +2. I hope you see the trend that's emerging here. Blaziken is really good. This Pokemon is a fantastic starter, and it is a fantastic Pokemon to do a solo game. One day I want to see how it does in Fire Red, because I think it's going to be pretty good. Against Glacia, I can set up Substitute and then all up, but in this case I wanted to save for both times, instead I just set up all at once and then sweep for entire. Against Drake, I take things a little bit slower, and by that I mean actually setting up Substitute.
Oh, goodness.
Alright, it has been completely dominant in Emerald version so far, but Wallace is coming up next, the water type specialist. However, before that, let's go through the other Pokemon. Next is Swampert. I'm using Brick Break here for Sydney after setting up Substitute.
Oh,
Makes his
no,
team
sir.
the Crawdon does survive and wastes a little bit of time. overall it's inconsequential.
104.
Maybe it's also low as well, but they don't one-shot her Pokemon. She uses some healing items on the first boss box, delaying my win. Then the Bayonet, the Sableye, and the second Bayonet are one hits, leading to the final boss box. But it can't break Swampert substitute, so this is an easy fight once again. Galaxia is where things start to get really sketchy. Yes, spotting the initial Celia, and hail damage I cast the substitute and chips away to her health. So I have roughly half health remaining by the time I move on to the Galarian. Swampert is also not able to one-shot it, which is unfortunate, so my substitute takes damage from Icy Ring. The next Celio starts the hail up
What
again.
if they
Chip damage every turn now, and Ice Beam from the second Glalie.
right there is 80.
I reset it, but this brings Swampert down to 20 hit points. And then
I still have to go back to the thing anyway.
7 hit points. Here's the thing though, hail stops on the perfect turn. I knock out the Glalie and move on to the following wall ring, with my substitute still intact. Brick Break does more than half. Wall Rain breaks my substitute with Body Slam. It eats its Citrus Berry, but this doesn't heal it enough to survive another Brick Break. Drake is next, but Swampert has Ice Beam. Now that you understand every single detail during that fight, let's move on.
I don't even have a horse.
Sydney's
For a side.
played for 3 Pokemon that are grass type. Hidden Power for the one. Maybe I can approach the thing right and get 2 Pokemon so it's although we played here, that means
Another golden animal cracker. Good deal. What am I doing? I have no idea yet.
luckily we played is still able to knock out Nats and the Sableye. By the time I arrive in Galaxia, looking really sharp. Wall Ring, you're just barely able to survive a hit from it. As a result, it breaks my substitute damage from Gale, Galaxia uses for full restore. My next replay does grow better damage, but then Galaxia comes in, its power is not able to roll shot, uses Ice Beam and Step Out Base. I tried this 2 more times, but both of them result in the exact same thing. Galaxia just gets me with Ice Beam, so I need to be at higher level. I have accumulated 15 rare and only use now to set out over 2 damage running pressure list to level 60. This gives me the one kill on the wall range, but it doesn't bring my substitute on, so Glalie can go down over 2 turns. Fortunately, I don't have a damage range here, but it does. She has 1 more Glalie left over, and for some reason, this one thinks the single hit will be +1 hit. So, if that's good, like, it was 2 levels higher, and it has better special defense and better damage. Like, if it rolls bad damage roll on the first one and got a good damage roll on the second one, that is the only way that I can explain this. Before break it, he set out Dragon Claw to replace substitute against the Shelgon, protect, then Dragon Claw get out, as well as the bow. Flygon, the alternative survives, it just sets up Dragon Dance and knock her up 2 more hits because Drake is named again. Salamence can't intimidate me, and while it does break my substitute with Flamethrower, I love it over for 2 rounds. That leaves only Kingdra and Dragon Claw against the one. With that, all 3 of our starters have made it to the champion. This is the 2nd last battle of the game. I think the results here might surprise you. Let's start things with Septile. Technically, it should have an advantage over Wallace as well.
I don't know if I logged out or clocked out for work.
They'd like to have ice move. Wallace's team's 3 Pokemon are like this: the Wailord with Blizzard, Tentacruel with Ice Beam, and Melodic with Waste. Whiscash and Gyarados can still be a threat if they have Hyper Beam, but Ludicolo is mostly useless, and that is nice to say, because usually it's a significant threat. With Septile, there isn't a lot of strategy here. I'm just hoping the replays can do damage to make it through all of the major threats. I can one-shot the Wailord as well as the Melodic, although the second of these doesn't critical hit. Tentacruel's next, it has ridiculous special defense, and it does hit. Now, in addition to Ice Beam, it also has Sludge Bomb, which is super effective, and it will be doing more damage. In this case, being faster than bringing Septile down to 20 hit points. My Grass Tape eats 6 Berry Walls, even for full restore. My next 2 Leaf Blades knock out Tentacruel, then he simply Ludicolo. I have just enough health to use substitute, leaving Septile with 1 hit point. Ludicolo begins setting up double team. Okay, maybe it is going to get annoying. It then gets a critical hit with Surf, breaking my substitute, Wallace uses the full restore. My lead blades continue to hit even though he was a double team, and in the end, I knocked out the pineapple. Here's the thing though, I'm not in a great position. While I do have 4 times damage against this match, it's not going to be scary. The Gyarados that falls with a flying hit, so it's neutral damage from the blade. Once I get a critical hit, I'm not going to knock it out. It survives with red health, chooses a earthquake, and set out phase. In the next fight, I learned that if I'm not rolling critical hits against the roll, I'm not going to knock it out in 2 turns, meaning that I will take a lot of damage from Sludge Bomb. I'm left on 6 hit points this time. Luckily, I rolled better damage the second time, so sometimes without crits, I can 2-shot. I crit the following week solo, 1-shot the base cash, make it back to the Gyarados. Once again, I do not roll a critical hit. As a result, I lose for a second. Now, I can see criticizing my play here.
I forgot to clock out from work today.
If I had used those and set that probably would have use them now, except for level 75 before finding it. Here's the thing though, I have been getting lucky. If I don't click the melodic, it survives and uses poison 7 L's, so also, if the melodic is surviving using ice beam, and then temporarily slug ball, Sceptile just takes early. Using the dark candies has completely improved my odds. And in some cases, using dark candies will actually make your odds worse, because the enemy Pokemon will see different damage ranges and then choose different moves based on how much they're. In some cases, this leads to things like this melodic against my Sceptile. I don't really think this is playing out here. Anyways, it's pretty frustrating. I get poisoned. During the battle, I am still not done getting this melodic. Or then from the temporal on the ground, it move gets me off. Double team, full restore, I miss. Luckily, after that, it just continues setting up double team. Eventually, choose restore points that damage before I alternating with the Gyarados is the real question. Am I going to be able to knock it out? I have enough health to survive its against me. It's against me. The AI doesn't like to choose earthquake unless it knows it's going to get the points. Wallace might use a full restore here, but it doesn't matter. After 8 blades, Gyarados goes down and 7 out is with Gyarados. Okay, the thing for like that, Blaze King is likely to have a really rough time. First of all, I tried setting up this stuff on the Wailord. Don't do this. That Wailord uses a max power water spout and finishes me in a single turn. So instead, what I should do is attack right away with Core Break, use the power spout, and then step. Although I'm still taking almost half of each of these hits, so I can only set up once before I need to sweep to a main or just with Break, one shots the following follow, this catch next, but it survived. So I can play burning the power so that I have to put them crits so that I don't get a chance to try this strategy. I reset one for battle poison quickly. This time things go better, but Water Spout is doing less damage. I push my setup one more turn to get across the loop, and then I start one-shotting with solo. Now one-shotting with catch. I got a critical hit there. That's nice, I guess. I one-shot the following my lot of things. Roll, take it out, power still on my set, make the Gyarados. Intimidate lowers my attack back to +1, but I still don't move up 1, even if I had +2. I continue trying to then I make it back to +2 to Gyarados, but this just isn't going to work even if return and doing the Whirlwind to get the power. It still survives and vanishes placement. So I think I need to reinvent my approach here. I'm going to teach the best. And then what I can do is set up a ball path and hopefully rest up somewhere else in the fight.
I do have more of those. Dahmer is ready to go.
That's the very simple. Set up on the Wailord +2, then use rest to wake up from the chest area. Wailord chooses double edge because of that level power spending so that any of its moves will this lets me squeeze in a third ball path getting to +3, and now I should be able to win. With return, I think you can Gyarados face the champion execution. Okay, the question now is, are we going to go 3 for 3 cat fights against realistic opponent starters? I can see Swampert having some problem that for all it takes 4 times damage from Ruby Trollo's Giga Drain. For the fighting using 6 damage, and he's Swampert up to level 69. I also teach Hidden Power Grass in the place of Ice Beam. Earthquake on her
Wait, why is that one down? Hold on.
Blizzard doesn't do very much damage, but since I know Pulse is full for instead of something. I do know what
Curious.
Grass, but Willow does that pretty damage, and Willow which comes in next as switch spam. Getting rid of Ice Beam might not have been the best move. I kind of want super effective damage against this thing. Even with a resisted Earthquake though, I can still do that. It's like a double team, Giga Drain, breaking myself, recovering a small amount of health, and after a miss, it uses another Giga Drain, and that's it. So what's my answer to this thing? Well, I get a critical hit with Earthquake, and that's that for Ludicolo. Earthquake one-shots the following. Tentacruel, Hidden Power Grass takes care of the Whiskash. Gyarados can't intimidate me because I have my substitute in place. My best
Did it just do away with my thing because of that green rain?
Knock it out over 3 turns. Last is my Melodic, and Earthquake takes care of it in 2 turns. It's one critical hit, defeats the champion, and now they're looking
Well, that's fine. So I was planning on switching those things over anyway, but
with it, I'm ready to go.
how do I unlock?
For Swampert, I'm running the set to Surf Earthquake substitute. Setting up substitute turn blocks. It's also free setup if the Stormy chooses to go for this move or for Storms. Use Aerial Ace because the Stormy is never going to choose against me. So the first Pokemon goes down, then Steven sends an Aggron, and Earthquake takes care of it. After that, Greydolly comes out, now he does have Giga Drain, which can do 4 max damage. I choose Earthquake, which does a 3rd. Okay, I was hoping for a little bit more when I brace myself. So my 3rd Earthquake is not able to knock it out. Swampert doesn't use, Steven uses the full restore, Swampert hits itself twice in a row, and then Giga Drain brings me down to 7 hit points. There isn't really a way to get out of this, and I try to go for that. It's itself for the 3rd time in a row, and that's a little bit cheap against the Greydolly, but I think it's still possible for Swampert because he's a good damage. They also know that the Greydolly can choose a Giga Drain, which it goes for on the 2nd turn in this battle. As a result, out in the one here I reestablish substitute, but it gets broken right away because of the critical hit. A little bit unfortunate. I go for Surf, taking out remote health. It sets up the light screen, reducing my damage. This is annoying. Steven's going to buy some time with the full restore, so I take my time to setting up substitute again. Well, the going is slow against Playdol. Eventually, I'm going to knock it out. Then we have 2 Pokemon that I have super effective damage. Wasn't sure what Steven was going to choose next, but he seems to be saying this. In this case, Earthquake does the 3rd equal reflect is on the meter. And they're going to break my health. That's zero blockouts about a 70 with the game time. Like ours. I go into the electric Pokemon. Yeah, first 28 minutes. Impossible for me. Like, what can I do so wrong that's never. Anyway, major improvement over the approach to Steven's film is more straightforward. I have to refer to term threat. All I need to do is set up against the three. Eventually, I can trust the feelings and also get back to the ball. Really, kind of like damage all worried about this storm getting critical hit really. Does I get to draw 6 and then 14. Second battle, I get to Six, I don't know what you played all and would break one team sets for a lockout the game. 5 hours. It's time for with this is where everything that's perfectly related to earthquakes. So I have to go back again. It's like we play the most damage in this case. We slightly less, but it's bringing them up around all the four feeling the overflow and everything like that. Yeah, area like something like doing massive damage. Even that's how we can set up. It's like a little bit every so for these ranges, even I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, so Metagross easily shrugs off my earthquake, taking less than half, using psychic and several things. I tried a new set, including rescue. The earthquake wasn't very helpful. I tried to heal against the Armaldo, and this is just a terrible idea. The aerial aces are doing way too much damage. I come back, try again with the earthquake, but I lose to the Armaldo before proceeding to press. Then against Skarmory, it breaks my substitute aerial ace way too many times. 7 takes another reset. Getting by these first two Pokemon ends up being one of the most their things for okay, so
that's some funny stuff right there.
Gives things in power against the Skarmory. This probably stays into the blood, sending Armaldo. I very rarely see this kind of behavior, but it's really great for me because then I only take one really from the Armaldo and I can reshot with a hidden power plus. Because of this, I can reestablish my substitute with the Skarmory and then try to use toxic again, and then I knock it out with the power fire. Then for some reason, Stephen does not choose Blade on next, instead sending in Metagross. Maybe it has to do with which moves I choose, but I don't really know. In this case, I have my substitute skills. I want to take one damage from Metagross, and I can I wasn't so worried about using the before, but instead, Metagross needs its Citrus Berry and doesn't use a healing item. Blade all comes in next, and I reestablish my substitute. Then I use Weak Blade to two-shot and move on to the end. I thought that I would finish it in round 4 by stand. Right, but it doesn't. My substitute gets broken. So once the aggron goes down, you get 2% out. Critical use I set up substitute, critical use, brain. I choose the Weak Blade, so it does the most damage. In this case, I get a critical hit finish Stephen's step. Sephal's time is 1 hour, 45 minutes, 50 seconds. 18 resets. Level 76 this game, 6 hours. This is also better than its 2 hour that's previously so I feel like my first also shuffled in it is still in first place. It's in first place by a much smaller margin, and Stroke has included Sephal as the second best starter. Okay, let's see how far I can push these Pokemon with all of them. Before I get into them, I really do want to say I think that my Pokemon play is kind of subpar. Of all the games I'm playing on my channel, I think that my skill in Animal Crossing is perhaps the best. Because that actually challenges, I wouldn't be surprised if you were able to get one. Constantly working on my play, trying to make myself better. It's always an iterative process, and for whatever reason, Emeralds is just not really sticking. Yeah. That said, I really do think my skill has improved.
This will be my last day. I gotta get ready for church and get my laundry and stuff situated.
Just 6. I'm gonna start with follow-ups. This Pokemon has not. That's the fact that leader is a fighting type either. I really want to avoid the actual battles I'm going to be doing and how fast and capable Blaziken is at every stage of the game. Before this make rumbling thing about jokes, I'm also going to be running Academy Nature, improving magic and avoiding my special attack. This seems strange to have people game, but I'm not going to use it very much, but once it beats Brawly, and again, I'm going to delete it for fun.
Are you serious?
The problem in the early game comes down to how much damage a Cooper can do against Saints. To get a sense for what it's going up against, this is with the neutral nature sure, so there was no benefit here to physical moves or special moves. In this case, level 16 compared to level 50. Ember has a 51.9% chance to two-shot both of the geodes, but it also could be a 3-hit. This means geodes are going to land between 1 and 2 rock tombs, lowering my speed. As Blaziken's speed gets lowered, they are more likely to rock tombs, and then on the nose pass, Blaziken is likely going to 7-hit with Ember. Now, I could potentially luck through this fight with Focus Energy and Ember in combination, getting critical hits. But even in cases like that, a crit on the nose pass only does between 32 and 41% damage. It does between 91 and 109% damage to the Geodudes. So I could fail to knock out the Geodudes with critical hits, and then on the nose pass, it has an Word Berry and she has 2 potions. Also, this is using Ember at level 16. If you want to use Ember, you're going to go into the fight at a lower level, like 13 or maybe 15. Going through these damage ranges convinced me that Blaziken's best way through the early game is just fighting trainers and then defeating Roxanne at level 16. Although this does slow it down, especially when compared with Pokemon like Squirtle. The thing about overtraining for Roxanne is that I don't need any more training. 17 going to 18 is totally manageable for Blaziken and its Bulka, taking the need for further training throughout the world. Longray gives me first sight before the market, but it seems that he's not an issue. Roxanne's entire team is terrible against Blaziken, and I have learned my lesson. I'm now setting up on the other. Let's talk about Blaziken's moveset throughout this one. I think it's actually really good. In case of Blaziken, the least number of moves possible. Switching up my moveset just wastes time. This thing is so good, you don't have any moves other than double kick or sneak power for the majority of the game. It's just hanging out here because I have so much Blaziken and I don't want to waste my time. Like I said before, Bulk up for 1 against the team, double kick and not against the team. No need to have a reset here. By the time I've arrived at Winona, my moveset has changed. I've given up some power to Blaziken, but also my new power goes to Blaziken. Simply for the Skarmory and the Troll. That's it. Once I knock those 2 Pokemon out, I'm not going to use it anymore at this point. I put Substitute in its place and then set to Cave-wise. It's that they're just fighting level 3 trainers plus 3 levels 46. Unlike the other 2 runs, I want to make this battle as easy as possible, so you can put all my guardians here, going from 46 up to 57. Blaziken then just crushes his eyes of space. By the way, I have a particular ordering of cards here. Claydol, Lunatone, Xatu, then Solo. This minimizes risk as much as is possible. For one, it's first break instead of double kick. I should set up here with Bulk up to sweep this team. It's really easy, even though he's a block 6 special. Take my time and pick up some extra rare candies. This is what we can need to finish the game with 58. Otherwise, my chance to one-shot the Metagross with +6 goes down significantly, and then I start rolling the dice against season, and I really don't want to do that. By the way, during level 4, I don't need to save. Blaziken is actually that good. Substitute trivializes Sydney, Phoebe, Glacia, and Drake. That brings us to the only difficult trainer in this entire playthrough, Wallace. I have a very specific turn ordering that I need to use here. Earthquake turn 1 to bring the Whaler to low health so that Wallace
I was get him just because it's a freaking.
turn he is going to use a full restore.
That's actually decent.
Increases my damage, but I don't want to KO. It's like a constant to deal more damage to the Whaler. This brings it to red health, and hopefully it's choosing Water Spout by this point. If it is, then I can use 2 more health ups, getting to plus fitness, and after that, as you've seen before, instead of substitute, then just sweep Wallace's team. So far, Blaziken has no resets to follow. Now, Steven Stone is not difficult like Wallace is. This fight is random. If you just spam Aerial Ace against Blaziken, I will get resets. Then I go back into the fight, choosing faster with substitute. Both work, by the way, substitute is slightly faster.
Hey.
One is a little bit better. Honestly, it's mostly personal preference. In this case, I was going with substitute the first time around, because instead of it just going to be up. Anyways, with rest, I can set up, and then at 6, I'm going to switch to Steven's team. I want you to know
Mineral
the damage range against the Metagross.
What's that even
At
mean?
level 68, which I mentioned before, it is an 82.4% chance to one-shot with Brick Break once set up to full with Bulka. But at only level 67, which is my current level, it is only a 15% chance to one. It would have been nice to get one more level, but I'm trying to save it as possible.
This thing says go to it down to level 70. I'm like, nah, dog.
This time around to get the like roll, Metagross faints with that.
Level 70 is literally the worst.
Blaziken clocks in with a full time of 1 1 reset. One reset. One outputs at a game time of 4 hours and 13 minutes. This time blows all of my former results in follow-up runs out of the bag. Blaziken is so fantastic, but Suffer is also surprisingly good. I think he's thinking that
What's funny is like I didn't have any issues with like the later levels. It was literally just that freaking. I guess I did have issues here, but like the 100 and the 120 or whatever. Okay. Like, I didn't have any issues there, and it's so funny to me because that should be the part where you're having all the issues. I'm over here to smack myself now.
10 minutes slower, and I genuinely didn't know what I was doing. One of the things is backtracking to roll. It does waste a lot of time. You can fight him for now makes the most sense. There's still the chance to probably put tons of one of the installs is probably the ultimate technique you will keep really frustrating. I didn't need to do that. Water gun turns on. Speed, then you keep the speed and get to the by the way, you'll notice here that I'm using body nature boosting my attack and lowering my special defense. This is incredibly important for damage range against even stronger. I really wish I could find a special effect in Steam Nature for this playthrough so that it's still do more damage in the mid-game, but realistically, I don't need that. Surface is still just effective enough. I want to talk about different other strategies and keep in mind that
Oh, because that's kind of free. Okay, now I'm just getting body. Oh no, oh no, run away, run away, run away. Ooh, I about died.
Abra does have the chance to save quite a bit of time.
That's what I get for talking smack. Straight got wrecked.
City saves roughly 4 to 5 seconds, but today without Abra, this run alone has made me seriously consider if I should be forcing Abra as an agent mover and then using it with every single boss. I spent quite some time actually attempting to run into wild Abra and catching them with Stormbird just to shave this small amount of time out. Because as you'll see very soon, Stormbird's time is actually going to be competitive with Blaziken. However, if I added Abra to both of these runs, then Blaziken would get the same advantage. So really what I was trying to do here was trying to add Abra to Swampert and then eventually for my final playthrough I decided to not go for it. Let me know what you think about Abra in the comments. Should I be using it? Should I be skipping it? Is my current approach correct, or should I adjust my rules? I'll consider taking a new approach in 2025 if the reasoning that I see in the comments is good enough to change my mind. Whenever I make updates to my rules like this, I always do it very slowly because
Ooh, I got Nodum. I got Nodum, I needed.
Just look at some of the change there is in Generation 1 regarding glitches, like the paralysis invulnerability glitch. Everyone really seems to hate that right now. I am thinking about it, but I'm not going to adjust my rules just yet. One thing that you may not have perspective on when watching these videos is the fact that I am also communicating to a large number of people who have never seen videos like this in every single video at once. If I make the rules feels extremely convoluted,
How much health do I
banning
even got?
language
I
in
have
certain
4
scenarios,
Good
but
job.
not in other scenarios where it's more interesting, then it becomes extremely hard for me to communicate that in a concise way to everyone watching these videos. Plus, I also want a rule set that's fairly easy for you to recreate at home if you want to sit
That's what I
down
get for
and
just
do it
diving
further.
in.
So if I say, well, I banned this glitch in this scenario, but not this glitch in this other scenario, it gets really complicated. Anyway, I also think that my Generation 1 rules are already way too convoluted. I'm trying to make them as simple as possible and remove stuff like this instead of add more exceptions. In the end, though, Generation 1 is just really janky, and it's hard to have a rule set that is both fun to watch and fun to play while being easy to understand. Okay, back from that tangent. Throughout the mid-game, I'm running Surf, Secret Power, Mudshot, and Ice Speed. Once arriving in Lilyfoot City, I teach Substitute in place of Mudshot. This is a
Blue.
weird section of the game where I'm running a non-major booty attack, but I'm mostly using special moves, Surf and Ice Speed. Things like this look suboptimal, and I'm always trying to find ways around them, but I really do need two God Steven stones to trade them using Surf. And Secret Power right now is on my set just because it has been the best physical move, and I didn't want to backtrack for return, which wastes quite a bit of time. I'm going to replace it now.
Alright, y'all. I'll be back.